So the older I get, the more I am appreciating romance anime and just romance stories, period. That's why every time I watch Spy Family, I just love seeing that family on screen with Lloyd, Yor is just waifu, period. Dark hair woman in red, that's, yeah. Anna, and I think the dog's name is Bond, if I'm not mistaken. Just add two more children to that situation. I'm like, wow, man, that's something I do want. Now I understand it's fantasy. Of course, it's not going to be as exciting as that is, but as I get older, I do appreciate watching those stories that had that family and love element to it, that romance element to it, a boy meets girl, girl meets boy, and just seeing love come about from it. Something I am appreciating more. One romance anime I am watching this season is Yano, Kuns, Ordinary Days, and first thing I noticed about this was the art style. What I compare it to is, as soon as I saw this, I was like, what does this remind me of? This is reminding me of something else. And it reminded me of Girl Leapt Through Time. It could just be me. I could be wrong and completely off with comparing it to this, but it looks somewhat similar to this, Girl Who Leapt Through Time. It's a pretty good anime, worth checking out. And it also reminded me of Sunny Boy, as far as the art style. Not the story, as far as the art style. So I was like, okay, this looks pretty interesting. It's not unique, but it definitely stands out amongst the rest. And like I said, it's not a slight against the rest of like the conventional traditional anime look. It's just something that stands out, right? So it definitely caught my attention from there. It's about a girl named Kyoko. She is class president. And then, look, she's feeling herself like, yeah, thank y'all. And then comes in the main lead in the classroom, and I love these like these tropes, or the classic introduction where it's either the hot girl who comes into class being introduced who's late. You're like, good day, students. We have a transfer student from so and so, and then like if it's a hot girl, then all the guys light up like, whoa, 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 and then the girls light up like, oh my gosh, you're so cute, and everybody wants to be friends with her. Or if it's the hot dude, all the guys get jealous, and all the girls like completely fondle over him. And so we get the introduction, and so what's his name? Yano. Hold on, let me move this. And then so he shows up late, Tsuyoshi, and then like first impression is like, damn, like dude just got, either he got jumped or he got in like an all-out group brawl or something. And so it raises curiosity, like, yo, who is this dude? Is this dude part of a gang? Like, why is this dude so injured and bandaged up? So we're not sure if he's like a delinquent. Is he going to be like one of those romance stories where it's like girl who's extremely academic, successful in all her classes, her grades, she's an honor roll student, she just made class president. So is it going to be that type of dynamic where you had this do-gooder versus this delinquent, and then they somehow come together and she kind of refines him and civilizes him in a way? I'm like, okay, is it going to be like that? So I'm curious, right? It's the first episode. So like as she's sitting next to him, day 2, next day he gets even more bandages. Now he has a neck brace 2 days later, still bandaged up. Okay, now he lost the neck brace 1 week later. She's like, yo, what is up with this dude? And so there's a bit of comedy here, right? Which I love in my romance. I love comedy. It kind of spices it up a little bit. And of course, you have the friend who's like the nosy one. You have a crush on him? Why are you always thinking about so-and-so? I mean, it is kind of curious. Like, yo, what does this do? What is his life like outside of school? Yeah. She's like, I'm curious. Is he being bullied? Domestic violence? And it could be one of those, right? I remember watching it, and that was awesome. I thought, like, okay, does he come from an abusive household? Those are like the kind of the classic backstories for these type of stories, right? These romance stories. How about we follow him after school and see what's causing his injuries? And as you're following too, I'm gonna bring up the next panel. As they're following him, you're following along with them because you're curious. So now they're following him, and after school, it's just funny, right? I don't think anything is going to happen. He's just walking normally. Can't be sure yet. And then all of a sudden, he just tripped over nothing. And I love the music, like subtle things like the background music adds to the mood or the humor of the scene. Did he just release him? So he tripped over nothing. And he gets up, gets hit by a branch. It's like, oh damn. Okay, wait, is this dude just has like a case of bad luck? All right, so he walks into a pole. So it's like, all right, it's not bad luck. He's just not careful or aware of his surroundings. But then it's like, okay, maybe it is bad luck because it's almost like life has a grudge against him and will go out of its way to make his day even worse. So he's clumsy and he has like a case of bad luck. Yano Kun's just, he's a total klutz. This is worrying in its own way. Yeah, right? Because it's almost like not his fault. It's like, yo, why? Like, this dude just can't get a break besides like breaking his nose or anything. Yo, I got snagged on a branch. Okay, this is another thing. This is like real side note. This is why I am not interested in like live action adaptations of anime a lot of the times. Like maybe in certain instances, right? Animation is almost, it's comedy within itself. And this is something you just can't capture in a live action comedy. Like, yeah, you could do expressions, but it'd be really hard to do that without the actors, the real life actors being cringe. This is why I love animation within itself. It's a medium that I enjoy uniquely and don't need live action adaptations, but I don't want to linger on that too much. I seen someone was following me, so I followed them back. Damn, he got a nosebleed too. Jesus. And it was you, class president. All right, so let me say, so she apologized. If this, she says, yo, if rumors start to spread in class, everybody's gonna start. Yo, so and so is a weirdo, is a stalker. Stalker. I love the voice actor. Stalker. I mean, it's a, you know, and I love the it looks like what's that horror anime with the spirals? I forgot. Uzumaki? I forgot. That's what it looks like. So now I'm interested as far as what's going to be his response, because we didn't really get much of his personality. Oh, somebody subscribed. Matter of fact, I should cut this off. This is probably going to happen throughout the video. We didn't really get much of his personality, so I'm kind of curious. Like, okay, what's his response? Is he like, yo, stop following me? Is he going to be the delinquent? Stop following me. Get away from me. Like, leave me alone. And he just finds out like, oh, you were just worried about me. Oh, that's cool. You're so kind. And that response alone. But as you probably noticed, I'm just really clumsy. Sorry for taking up your time. I mean, he's just cool about it. Like, he's the one going out of his way to be nice when it's kind of, you expect the opposite, because as many times as he's get injured, you would think he would have a grudge and just be resentful towards life in general. But he has like a positive disposition about everything. Like, yeah, this is just who I am. I'm used to it. And this just catches her off guard. And it completely captures her through the rest of the day. She can't believe it. Yeah, she's in shock and awe. Yeah, literally awe, right? All right, so let's go to the next panel. Ohio. Ohio. I know I ask you every morning, but are you okay? Yeah, I injured the same. Damn, God, yo, if anybody knows what it's like I hate dealing with jammed fingers, especially when I used to play basketball. Man, like once in a while, it's almost like biting your tongue. Damn it, it's like something you do by accident. What's worst about it is, you know, it's not going to be the last time that you bite your tongue. You will experience this pain sometime in the future. That's what's the worst thing about biting your tongue. You never know what's going to happen. And when you play basketball, sometimes you just get a jammed finger going up for that rebound. And man, that sucks. I hate that shit. You try to pull it out and like, I hate that shit. He jammed the same finger. God damn. Jesus. So this dude just has like a case of bad, like this dude is followed by a black cloud of cursed with bad luck. God, this dude just has a new injury every time. All right, so you know, she's like worried about him, right? She's worried. I'm too worried about him to leave him alone. This is something I also want to get into, because I want to bring up like two personal experiences, like of like two relationships I was in. And look, like he's always being the one injured, but you know, he puts her safety over his when she was about to get crashed over by those two dudes, and they were about to crash into you. Oh, go man. I'm more predisposed to injuries than most, so I'm used to it. And what's cool about this is that, you know, he's not being a bitch about it, which is actually attractive in itself to a woman. Like, if he was being a bitch and completely like somber all the time, and well, I mean, even though he kind of has a right to, but it's more attractive when you see how he deals with it. It's like, yo, it is what it is. I just deal with it, right? It's like, damn, this dude, that's pretty honorable. I'm actually pretty tough, so I'll be fine on my own. So this is like an attractive. It's a very honorable trait. She's just in awe. She got the blush. He said that, but I'm still really worried. Look, yeah, that's not going to stop her from worrying. All right, so next scene. Did he get hurt? What's going on? Yeah, she's always thinking about it. I just can't stop worrying about him. Worrying, that sounds like you have a crush on him. This is why I love anime. Like, there's humor within the animation itself. No injuries today. It's like that's like day one, no injuries. Shout out to this ended up being more like comedic than I thought it was going to be. Now that I think about it, I think this is the first time seeing this much of your face. Look, she the classic the classic. He's got beautiful skin, the classic. Yep. Is an assembly doing her? Look, now she got butterflies. This is why I like, man. This is why I like romance anime, yo. Like, especially comedic romance anime. Like, she is thinking about him. She can't sleep. But seriously, I have no clue how I'm supposed to get or act next to him. And then, okay, so this is when he's absent for like a few days, and she's like worrying, like, oh my God, with like knowing his luck, what happened to him now? And she's just like, look, she is depressed. So she finds out that he was in a car accident. I can't believe a truck was involved, and now he's in the hospital. I mean, that's some scary shit. You're like, damn, what the hell happened? Understandable, right? So she's like, the worst is going through her mind, like, what happened? Is this dude okay? And then he ends up being like right there. Nani? You weren't hit. So he wasn't hit by the truck, but his explanation of what happens is like, you know, you expect the show or the episode to take a very, very dramatic turn, but check this out. It's true that a truck nearly hit me. Then he got out the way, and then oh God. I couldn't slow down. He just got hit. He just ran into a wall. So Yano, I'm going to break down that wall. So she's trying to break down the wall, getting to know him. She wants to learn more about him. She wants to become his friend, at least. Look, she's adamant. Number 2. Sorry, I forgot my textbook. Now this is funny. Damn. Like the sound effect, sound audio engineering, like to really emphasize and amplify that sound effect where it makes you hurt the way you see it on screen as the characters feeling. It makes you feel the same pain. Like, damn, that sound like it hurt. Let's see that again. Let's see that again. That shit looks like it hurt. God, sounds like a car crash in itself. So the more she's trying to get to know him, the more she's causing more injuries, and it's like, damn, you know, you feel like she just feels bad, like total defeat. Himselfly went and did all these unnecessary things. So here's a moment. So she makes a plea to like, hey, I don't want you to have to go to the nurse every time you get an injury, which is like every 5 seconds. Let me be the one that nurses you. Let me treat you, your injuries from now on. If something happens, I'll use my first aid kit to help you right away. When it comes to patching up people up, I'm the best there is, right? And so this is something I also want to tackle, right? I want to tell 2 personal experiences of mine. I remember one relationship way back. This is before the pandemic, or no, this was during the pandemic. I was spending the night at my girlfriend's house. I remember sneezing earlier that day, like sneezing a lot, and I just thought it was maybe just allergies or something. But I remember in the middle of the night, I felt like a lot of congestion, and I woke up and I went to the bathroom, I like spit the congestion out, and it was like that green shit. And I was like, oh shit, I'm sick. Like I knew it was automatically, all right, I'm sick. So I was like, and she, she had kids, and so I remember like waking up like, hey, listen, I'm gonna go home. It turns out I am sick, and I don't want you guys to catch my cold. So let me go home and just like kind of get rid of this. You probably won't see me for a few days because I don't want you. I didn't want her and the kids to get sick. And then I remember later that day, she actually Uber Eats. She said, hey, check your porch. She sent like all of this, like these green vegetable juices and, concoctions to help me get better. I'm like, oh, wow, I wasn't expecting that, And then later in that relationship, it was like one remark she made towards me, or maybe this was after we broke up, because we still like talk here and there, but I think this was either later in the relationship or after we broke up. She made a remark saying, yeah, well, you left, you didn't allow me to take care of you. She said something along those lines, and that like was like a question mark that popped up in my head, like, huh? And basically what she was trying to say is that she wanted me to stay even though I was sick because she wanted to take care of me. But in my thinking, I was trying to think logically, like, listen, if you get sick, who's going to like take care of the kids? Like, I don't want you getting sick as well. So that was my logic. Let me leave now before anybody else gets sick. That was my logic. And it was sort of like him. It reminded me of him as like, listen, I want to stay out of the way because, my predisposition, is something I got to deal with. I don't want to burden anybody else with this. But I could feel there was like slight bitterness there. Like she didn't like the fact that I left. And she kind of kept this bottled up. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay, that's something I didn't know. I thought I was doing the right thing by leaving and going back to my house and make sure nobody else gets sick. And so I remember another relationship after that. Let's watch a little bit more of this. Well, then, excuse me while I look at your hand. Yeah, look, Sheena. And this is something, listen, I like this. I really do like seeing this, man. This is how sort of women fall in love. What is it called? The Florence, I think it's the Florence Nightingale effect. I remember hearing that when I watched the first Back to the Future movie. That's how the girl in that fell in love with, well, Marty, but how it was supposed to, the time I was supposed to happen, it was supposed to be his dad. He got hit by a car, and then she brought him into his house, and she nursed him back to health, and she fell in love with him, and that's how they, had a family in the future or whatever. So they call it the Florence Nightingale effect. I think they did in that movie, where a girl, it's like a nurse who falls in love with her patient in a hospital, right? That's that trope. And so I remember having this relationship. I was dating this girl, and I went to her house, and I was like, listen, I may not be able to spend the night because I think I'm a little bit sick. Well, I was sick, and I was like, but I made promises to hang out with her. And I had a bad cough. It's one of those coughs, like once you start coughing, it's not going to stop. You're going to be coughing for the next 10 minutes. It's one of those, like once you get that itch in your throat, pause, but you're going to be coughing for a good 10 minutes before you make some type of hot water or tea or something to like soothe that itch in your throat or whatever. It's one of those. I hate it. God, I hate whenever that happens, because it's one of those that where you wake up like 3:00 in the morning and then you completely are up for the next like hour because now you're coughing for the next 20 minutes and then you can't go back to sleep and you lose sleep because of this cough. I hate that shit. And I remember telling her, she's like, no, I want you to stay. If you start coughing, I'm gonna just make you something. And so basically she taught me to stay. So I remember we were in bed, and then it was like I woke up like 2 a.m. and I could feel myself about the cough. And it was one of those coughs where I tried to hold it in. It's like, because I didn't want to wake her up. I didn't want to, burden her. I didn't want to wake her up. And so I tried to like keep it suppressed. Like, and I think I went to the bathroom, started coughing. She's like, you all right? I was like, yeah, I just started coughing again. And she was like, I'm going to make you some tea. I'm going to make you something. I was like, no, you don't have to do that. Go back to sleep. And she's like, no, I'm going to make you something. And I mean, that type of shit impressed me, because it's something, of course, I'm not going to look at her in an unfavorable way if she doesn't make me anything, but it's like, oh wow, she's actually going out of her way to make me something. Like, that's attractive, and that makes, I don't know, what do they say, a way to a man's heart is either cooking or, but this is another way, like healing. And I remember she made me, this concoction, it was like a hot tea with something, and I remember my cough was gone after that. And, it wasn't like something that was gradually going away. It was still like in the peak of, being sick. And so I remember like 90% of my cough went away. And I was like, whoa, my cough is gone now. And I thought it was just for the night. So I went to sleep, woke up, and it was like I wasn't coughing anymore. I was like, wow, my throat is completely, almost like it was like 90, 95% healed. You know, she was like, hey, you want to go out to eat? Go out to eat breakfast? And it's one of those things that I don't want to go out in public, because once I start coughing, it's going to be like kind of embarrassing. Everybody's going to look at you like, yo, especially in a food restaurant setting, like, oh, yo, dudes, keep that shit at home. Don't make all of us sick and don't cough in our food. So it's something I didn't want to do. Like, I don't want to embarrass her or me. Yeah, I want to embarrass myself or her. But whatever she made me, my cough went away completely. I'll never forget this. And I was like, wow, she actually healed me. I was like, wow. And then she was like, well, of course I'm gonna do that. And I was like, wow, man. And you know, it's actually funny. I'm drinking some ginger tea right now. She brought me a Princess Mononoke cup, and I'm actually drinking from it right now. And you know, I tell everybody, once I reach 10,000 subscribers, I'll do a live stream with the webcam. People think I'm hiding my face. I'm not hiding my face. If you guys want to see my face, just go to my Spotify. One of my album covers has my face on it. And I've done a live stream here on this channel with the webcam. So my face is out there. But anyway, I'll show this Princess Mononoke once on that live stream, this mug that she bought me, because we were both in the anime. And we still talk here and there. But I remember she healed me back. She nursed me back to health. I couldn't believe it. My cough was gone after that. And, you know, women really do have, like, there is strength and power and femininity. Like, that shit works. That shit works. Just even the presence, the aura of just like a feminine woman, along with how they cater to you and nurse you. Like, that shit works. And that shit healed me. And I couldn't believe it, because, you know, those coughs where you can't stop coughing is one of the worst things. I hate that shit. And I couldn't believe it. So when I watched this reminded me of those experiences, and I cherish those experiences. You know, that's how you make a man fall in love with you, and I think that's how a woman falls in love with you even more, when she takes care of you like that. I want to become good friends with you. And, you know, as she already is. I mean, like, besides patching you up, if there's anything else I could do, like, she's, like, nervous. Basically, he talks about how, is there anything else I can do for you besides, you know, being your nurse, your personal nurse. And he says, I always wanted a normal school life, but due to my predisposition, you know, I don't want to burden anybody with my constant being followed by a black cloud of bad luck. And he just wants a normal school life where he can go to karaoke, hang out with friends, go to cafes. I think he says that. Oh, go to arcade. Yeah, go to arcade. Oh, that's something I want to show some arcade footage. I was playing Initial D when I was in Japan, so I definitely want to show that shit. Go to arcade, karaoke. I got some karaoke footage too. So yeah, man. He just wants to have a normal life. And she says, all right, I want to be that person that, yeah, look at I love seeing this shit, yo. Is this a reason why Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, they're licensing a whole bunch of K-dramas? I just don't get this, you know, from Hollywood anymore. Really romance stories at all, to be honest, which is why they license a whole bunch of K-dramas. You do get this in K-dramas, Korean dramas. You do get that a lot, like the romance, just a classic romance story, right? So, guys, that's all. I don't want this video to be too long, but if you guys are interested, it's what is it, Yano Kuns Ordinary Days. But all right, I'm gonna leave it at that. If you guys are interested, I hope I didn't, you know, bore you guys with my personal stories. I appreciate everybody who's watched my previous video. That's doing pretty well, as far as like anime tourists is the problem. But I'm gonna leave it there. I'll see you guys in the next video or live stream. If you haven't already, check out my music, links in the description. If you love those Samurai Champloo, lo-fi, mellow boom bap vibes, then my music is definitely for you. And if you want to help support the content I create, consider joining my channel. Becoming a member is much appreciated. I will see you in the next video or live stream. Free think. Peace.
Now just imagine being reunited with your wife after being a slave for a good part of your life. Within arm's reach and see the freedom you both seek. To be met with the sword, then you forced to the floor. Your wife through her eyes unable to recognize the man she once knew and loved is not alive. Thorfinn understands the situation as a whole. No matter how he feels, this is out of his control. Aina on the other hand wants to take a stand and wants to do what he can to get it back with a man. But Thorfinn helps him realize the circumstance. As Ironheart herself says she doesn't want his help. His past stories told of loved ones being torn, forced to break bonds as new ones are being formed. It's just a part of war that simply can't be ignored as your pain becomes rain and you waiting out the storms.